Hi everybody, Jody Dean here, and in this video I'm going to talk about being a reflector in the human design system, which is what I am, and I'm just going to explore a little bit with you about what that looks like, feels like, and is like in my life from my own direct experience as a reflector. I help emerging love leaders, spiritual seekers, open to who they really are, navigate the spiritual awakening process, embody your soul purpose, and open into authentic self-expression without limits. And I do that through coaching, mentoring, teaching, training, online, offline, retreats, and workshops. So let's get down to it. So I'm a reflector. What does it mean? Well, when I found that out, it was back when I was living in Spain, and I had a few friends who were sannyasins, neo-sannyasins. That means initiated in the path of Osho, the spiritual teacher, the 20th century mystic. And there are a lot of, let's say, seekers in that kind of tribe who got into human design because I believe Ibiza, the island of Ibiza, has a lot of human design stuff going on, because that's where the download for human design happened to the guy, right? The guy Ra, can't remember his name exactly, but it's Ra something, where he had the download, and then there was kind of, I guess, training happening there, and a lot of Osho sannyasins had come to Ibiza, and so they resonated with all that kind of download, this spiritual consciousness info and divination systems. And so it was friends of mine who were into it, who kind of like, okay, let's look on this website and let's get your information. And then, oh my God, you're a reflector. You're this rare type. You're this 1 in 100, the 1%. Type where you have no defined centers and you are influenced highly by the moon, and you should wait for any important decisions. Wait a few days up to a whole lunar cycle for a big major life decision. And in the beginning, it was like, wow, I'm kind of this weird anomaly kind of thing and being. And also I had a friend who was a lover for a little while, but mainly a friend who was also a reflector, and that I could instantly recognize it in her, and so could my friends. And they're like, oh yeah, that makes total sense that you two are both reflectors. And yes, so those were my initial reference points for this. Now, I've explored it a lot more in the last 5 years, as there's been more information online about it, and I've read or browsed a couple of books, downloaded them on my Kindle and browsed them, and also looked in a couple of books that I've found, and then begun to do others charts in the human design system, body graphs, etc., and get a much broader understanding, do all my friends and family. And then it's like, okay, I can see where the parallels are and the reference points and the patterns. And so that's given me a much broader understanding to the whole concept of human design, and also the different types and my type, the reflector type. So a couple of days ago, someone asked me, what is it? What is a reflector? How is it to be a reflector? And I was like, well, this is actually probably a great video to do. And I did make a video 3 or 4 years ago about my chart that's on this channel. And now I wanted to just do something about how it is to be, in the broader sense, be a reflector in my own life. So what comes to me first is that I pick up on energy extremely easily. I can't help be influenced but be influenced by the people around me, the environment around me, the energy around me, the vibes around me, sound around me, the architecture around me. it totally impacts how I feel, how I think, and how I am. And I know to some extent that is a truism for every single human on this planet. But what I notice is that I'm very much affected by it, impacted massively. And the older I get, the more acutely aware of that I am, because also in my awakening process, the more sensitive I have become to others' energies, thoughts, behaviors, the vibrations, the environment around me. I've become so much more sensitized and sensitive, and also discerning as well. So I choose not to be in certain environments, to be with certain people, and I decide based on quality where I want to be and who I want to be with. So this is something that I very much relate to in what we call the reflector type, is that we become connoisseurs. The reflector will sample life through dabbling and experiencing many different things, everything they possibly can do for the first, say, 30 years of life. And then we develop more this energy of discernment and being a connoisseur, like a wine connoisseur. Like a wine connoisseur is not a wine connoisseur because they decide suddenly one day they're a wine connoisseur. They're a wine connoisseur because they know wine. They've experienced so many different kinds of wine. They've tasted and tasted and tasted and tasted all these different wines, right? All these different grapes, all these different vineyards, all these different soils, all these different years of harvests, etc. So that's how they become a wine connoisseur. They don't just become one like that. Like, oh, now I've done this online course for a day and now I'm a wine connoisseur. It just doesn't work like that. And I think that's a great metaphor for reflectors, that we sample throughout life. And I have done so much sampling. It's unreal. It's extraordinary when I think about it. The 60 plus different kinds of jobs I've done, all the different countries I've been to, all the different teachings I've imbibed, all the incredible people I've met, all the cultures I've experienced, the countries I've lived in, the different bodies of knowledge I've drawn from. And I could go on with this. The different languages that I've tried to learn, played with, investigated, researched, etc. All the different workshops I've been on, anything to do with self-expression, personal growth, self-mastery, healing, spiritual awakening, creativity, self-expression, holistic health, all those fields and realms, and many more, metaphysics, permaculture. So I have now a deep well of reference to measure anything against that comes into my awareness, into my field. Just as a wine connoisseur, if you were to just like blindfold them and pour them a glass of wine, they would be able to sample the wine, taste the wine, and tell you about the wine and whether it's a good wine or not, and many things, right? And I feel like I'm doing that in my life more and more and more, discerning and understanding what quality is for me from my personal perspective and choosing based on this. So that's one large element of being a reflector. that I'm acutely aware of more and more and more and more. So, okay, I'm about the new earth. I'm about consciousness. I'm about awakening. I'm about well-being. I'm about creativity. I'm about travel, right? So where am I? I'm in Bali. I'm in Ubud, Bali, right? I was drawn here, magnetized here. Because for me, it's a high quality environment to be in, like very high quality for someone like me, right? Daily interactions with extraordinary people who are healers and light workers and coaches and spiritual entrepreneurs and consciousness activators and artists and musicians who are doing wonderful work. More for me, like the cream of the crop kind of energy. That's the sense, the cream that has risen to the top of this field of consciousness and the new earth. Because there is a gravitational pull of these unique power places and destinations on the planet that attract like this kind of energy, like bees to honey. And this is very much my sense here of being in Bali. So I wanted to use that Ubud, Bali, particularly as an example. So I'm drawn here and I'm like, yes, this is great. And wow, this is incredible. And of course, not everything here is great. You know, in my perspective, there are things that are subpar. There are things that are mediocre. But there is so much here for me in my reality that is a wow. It is, oh yeah, this is great. This is nourishing. This is inspiring. This is exciting for me, right? On my journey. Not saying for everyone. I'm not saying for anyone else, but I'm just saying for me. And also another aspect of being a reflector is you're supposed to be, as a reflector, the center of the community. So that's another interesting one, because perhaps by being here, I'm positioning myself in the center of what would be the awakening community, the New Earth consciousness community. So that's an interesting one in itself, that I suppose you might say validates the reflector type, and my current life being an example of that. Of course, every reflector is different. Now, there's another aspect to reflectorhood, new word, which is that we transmute energy. So I find myself very much having a sense of like I'm working with energy in a space and it's unconscious. It's not like I'm doing this work. I mean, sometimes it might happen like that. Like I have to direct my consciousness in a certain way, perhaps to purify something or cleanse my own field or something like that in a given situation, in a place or a space. But it's the sense of more like we're just doing this naturally as reflectors, are transmuting energy and consciousness to a higher octave or a higher frequency. And this is something that the founder of Human Design System talked about himself. And so, well, what better place for someone like me who's obsessed with the new earth, with consciousness, with healing, to be in a place like Ubud, Bali, which is in many ways a center, if not the center of this kind of movement on the planet. There are, of course, other places, Sedona, Glastonbury, which of course is for me a portal to the beloved Avalon, which I've just written a book about, the Avalon Revelations. Check it out. Will be in the a link in the description. You can download it from my website. Other places, Hawaii, I see as one. There are a few spots on the globe that are kind of renowned, right, for healing. But Bali, you know, through virtue of the book that got published by Elizabeth Gilbert, Eat, Pray, Love, of a woman who comes on a journey of healing and receives healing and experiences transformation in Ubud, Bali. So it's been put on the map in the popular psyche in that way. But just as that has happened, so Bali has been on the map for decades already through, for example, the work of Robert Kuhn, who's a Glastonbury visionary, who wrote about the rainbow serpent energy lines that go across the globe and cross through Bali, and how they pass through these activation points and global, if you will, chakras. Glastonbury in England being the heart chakra, according to him, shared with Shaftesbury, which is just, a few miles away, relatively speaking. And then you've got, of course, the other amazing points like Mount Kailash comes to mind right now that are on the kind of global grid. So this is also a center in an energetic way, a hub and a portal, I believe. Certainly feels like the energy here is very potent. And so that could be another aspect or layer to me being a reflector that I see on my path, being here in Ubud, Bali, in this center of this incredible rainbow serpent energy line going across the globe for activating consciousness, that I'm here as a reflector as well to transmute the energy to a higher consciousness and frequency, enable more spaciousness to happen in the world. Not that I'm some, crusader or savior or anything like that. It's just an awareness of that's another layer or level to my experience, my personal experience of being a reflector here. And it's a reflection of perhaps my perspective being in this point in space and time right now in 2025, which is a massive year of transformation, year of the snake. And wow, we're coasting through it, and there's been a lot of change already, right? So that's interesting in itself, right? Okay, so what else? Reflectorhood is something that I don't take lightly, even though I actually, the theme of Reflector, that we know we're on the right course, is surprise. And the not self theme is disappointment. And I've experienced much disappointment in my life. And I am excited and surprised, very much so, when things go well for me. It's like I do see it as this indicator of me being aligned with my true self and my higher self, this sense of surprise. It's also gratitude, it's appreciation, it's joy. And it's this sense of kind of elevation, being elevated. So that's another aspect. And I'm definitely very much on my path. And this is another thing with being a reflector. If a reflector is not on their path, I believe the reflector is going to be feeling a lot of disappointment consistently because of the dynamics of what the type reflector is and how we operate. And so that's an interesting one in itself. It's causing me to reflect even whilst I'm speaking right now. I'm making this video, which is interesting in itself, in and of itself. So more aspects of my experience of being a reflector, I would say, just to round this off and wrap this up, would be this allowing myself, very much experiencing the benefit of allowing myself to wait and see and track the cycles of the moon, and also notice how I feel in different astrological combinations and when the moon is in different signs, it's Zodiac signs, and how that feels. And allow myself to process and collect my thoughts as I go, and then choose and act from a place of having waited to see and waited to feel what is true and real for me personally. Again, this is from the reflector perspective. So that has been helpful. And sometimes I just need to take action and I just need to move forward with things. But on the whole, I would say that it's the accumulation of insight and perspective that I receive through retreat, through stopping, through pausing, and through waiting and seeing how everything feels and aligns, and what downloads drop in over time without making rash decisions, very much supports me in life, and I get better results and better outcomes, a lot better outcomes, when I take this approach. So that's an interesting one. And I try to honor that as much as possible. So if I do find myself making a quick decision, if it's coming from a place of the accumulated wisdom from integrating and from waiting and seeing, then it's very much aligned and it's a great result. If it's coming from panic or fear or something like that, it's not generally given or going to give me a great result or a great outcome. And that's just my experience. So that very much aligns with the teaching about what the reflector type is. So if you're a reflector, I would love to hear your feedback, your experience. If you know a reflector, maybe you can also join that conversation as well, which you can contribute in the comments. Sharing is caring. The personal is universal. So I'd love to hear what you have to say, even if it's just something that you think is insignificant. It might be really insightful for somebody else who doesn't have your perspective or experience. So there is an invitation there for you to share and comment if it feels right for you to do so. And yes, that's pretty much it from me. I have the Writing from Spirit program coming up if you're interested in that, how to kind of download your book that's your core essence and message and create a writing practice that impacts your life and creates actually a book out of it. And that we also work very deeply with imposter syndrome and any limiting beliefs and clearing those to allow you to really shine and excel and be unapologetic in your self-expression and deliver your medicine to the world through a book where you're connecting with spirit and your highest self and allowing that to guide you and what emerges through that and through the initiations of your life to be shared in a book format, as I have done with the book, The Avalon Revelations, which is available and you can get it. There'll be a link, should be a link below. If not, then comment you'd like the link to get that book. I've had wonderful feedback for that book, and the consciousness of Avalon is rising on the planet, just as the remembrance and memories of Lemuria and Atlantis are as well. And this is something that's come much more to the fore for me and into my own awareness, and that's how this book happened, The Avalon Revelations. And you could say, well, as a reflector, it is my reflection of Avalon from my own unique perspective. And perhaps it is also a transmutation of energy to a higher consciousness. It is definitely, from the information I've received from others who've read the book, it is a consciousness activation and a heart activation. And every time I look at the book myself, I'm activated. Just such incredible, beautiful, magical energy emanating from that. Just like, wow. And I feel obviously thrilled and fulfilled that I delivered that to the world. And I know that you can do that too, if you have that feeling inside you that you have magic to give through a book. And, you know, why suffer? Why struggle and toil when there is a method that can get you there very fast and very quickly without all the stress, strife, and hassle, and give your gift to the world through the form of a book, a spiritual, transformational, inspirational book. So don't delay. Act today if you feel aligned. And yes, let me know. There should be obviously a link or something. And if there isn't, then I will link you. Just comment. You deserve it. You deserve it. You're worthy of it. And the world needs your medicine. So that's it, really. From me, you're amazing. You're wonderful. Remember your love itself. Maybe you've temporarily forgotten for a split second there. But I'm here to remind you that you are love itself. And I'm a reflection of the love that you are, and that you are amazing, and you are here for a reason. And I so much appreciate you for watching and participating in this epic adventure. So sending you so much love, blessings, and joy. And give us a like if you enjoyed this. Do share in the comments if it feels right, and do share the video if it also feels resonant, that someone else you know or some of your audience would vibe with it, or want to know more about what it feels like to be a reflector in this world. And by the way, I am a 4/6 reflector, and that's another profile. That's the profile aspect, and I'll make another video about that, I'm sure. And then on another topic, I'm a 33, which is my numerology life path, which is the master number. And a couple of days ago, I met another 33 for the first time in my life that knows they're a 33. And, I only found out last year that I was a 33. So it's been a massive journey for me in that regard of recognition, understanding, and acceptance. And so it was a massive gift to meet someone else who's found out that they are a 33 too, on that life path of master teacher, master healer. And it is, it feels like big shoes to step into. And at the same time, I kind of knew that somehow and everything else. So I will make a video about that soon. If you'd like me to make a video about anything else, please do share in the comments. All right. Bless you. Love you. Take care. You're amazing. You're epic. Your love itself. You have the power. Use it wisely. Mwah.